Welcome to Taste Buds. I'm Debra Eckerling, goal strategist, writer, and foodie. And today I'm speaking with the Berkowitz Brothers, who are the co-writers of the graphic novel The Writer and other things. So, Ben, Max, great to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so
Isn't,
much.
isn't show and tell like one of the best parts of being a writer?
Oh yeah.
It's the best. That was the most fun part about writing a comic book. This was all of our first time. Ours, our co-writer Josh Gad,
Disney
Disney
legend.
legend. Yeah. But yeah, having to like shift our brains to focus on really show don't tell in a manner that's different than film and TV and video, because we had to think in like still image to tell an entire story in like one panel.
I know you're both like big foodies, and there's a very deep family history of foodieism. But before we dive into that, tell me more about the book, graphic novel, whatever we want to call it, and how did it come about?
Yeah.
So, Ben and I, we talk to each other probably on the phone 18 hours a day about everything and nothing at all. I mean, Ben's wife is pretty mad at him.
Yeah, she complains that I talk to Max more than her, which is true. I talk to Max 18 hours a day.
We work together and we're brothers. It makes sense.
Yeah. We're very close. But yeah, the way this story came about was, and this project was that Max and I, you work on these, projects, TV series, films, podcasts, you work on them for years. And then, of course, it's the one that happens over a phone call that moves the fastest. Max and I were talking on the phone one day after being on the phone for 17 hours. And we were talking about this troubling trend that we saw in comic book movies, that these characters who identified as Jewish on the page, as soon as they made the jump to TV or film, their Jewish identity was getting sidelined. So we were like, we have to change that. With the current trend, with the rising tide of anti-Semitism, we have to do our part and make a difference. So we came up with a story where there was no way any studio could remove Jewish identity from it, because it was all Jewish.
And a lot of it was our story too. So
yeah,
we interjected that.
And we literally put together, we drafted a story and a presentation in like a night, and then cold called our friend Josh Gad. And because we thought, who's someone who embodies, a hero in real life, who's an advocate and who is the most knowledgeable, hilarious person, and that was Josh. So we cold called him, and he got it right away. He fell in love with the story, with the premise, and of course made it a ton better because he's brilliant.
He knows every Jewish folktale. It's incredible.
Every Jewish folktale. And so we built this framework of a story that would celebrate Jewish folklore, mythology, and the Jews who built the comic book industry, the people who couldn't get a job in regular publishing and had to be forced into an industry that was initially catering towards children. And they revolutionized it. And so we came up with this story, which I can give a quick summary of what it's all about. Do you want me to do that, Max, or do you want to do it,
Ben?
All right, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So it's The Writer. It's a 4-issue series that's now going to be released in a trade paperback on April 22nd. It's a supernatural adventure comic from our publisher, Dark Horse, in the vein of an Indiana Jones story. So it follows Stan Siegel, a comic book writer whose life just completely unravels when the fantastical worlds that he writes about start bleeding into reality. It's steeped in Jewish folklore, mythology, and dives into themes of creativity, legacy, and the power of storytelling. And it blends heart, horror and meta commentary on what it means to be a writer. So imagine like the movie Mouth of Madness meets Percy Jackson. And so yeah, that's kind of what it's about.
It was really good, Ben.
Oh, thank you.
Max, do you want to add to this at all?
No, I want to say that we also added a lot of our family stories into this as well, and what we grew up with, because it all takes place in Boston and Brookline, Massachusetts. I used to be a sports reporter and producer, so I want to interject a lot of sports into this. So we have the Green Monster, Fenway Park, and there's a lot of Jewish folk tales and that are mixed in within Fenway. And we also brought up and we put our mom into the story. It's literally Josh Gad's character's mom in it. And yeah, when you read it, you'll see a lot of us in this story.
Yeah. We made the origin of the Green Monster Jewish. So yeah, we own that now.
And we have the best illustrator, Ariel Olivetti, that we brought on board. He is incredible. Ben literally DM'd him on Instagram because he wanted him. We went through this whole process of trying to find the best illustrator, and Ben wanted Ariel, so he asked him, and we got him.
We wanted someone who could. He's a Marvel DC legend, and we wanted someone whose paintings are on a biblical level. So we wanted something that looked contemporary, but also had this like biblical aesthetic to it. And he there's no one who does it better than him.
One thing that I often say, so from my intro, goals strategist, writer, and foodie. So I'm an author of books on goals and like the goal cheerleader, basically. And one thing I frequently say is you can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. And this is a really good example of idea and then outreach and then reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say Max and I are hustlers.
But I have to ask, where is the food?
Where is it's all throughout. I mean, it's funny. Our mother's character, Liz, in the book, she's constantly pushing food on the characters or asking food.
There's a Jewish deli in it. It's based off the Jewish deli that we love to go to in Brookline. It's in Coolidge Corner. It's called Zoftics. You know, we love going there.
It's the best deli, I think, in the Brookline, Massachusetts area.
Yeah. So we had to put that into the story. And we talk a lot about coffee, because our whole family probably drinks like 8 to 10 cups a day.
That might explain the 18-hour conversations.
That's what I'm drinking right now, a cup of coffee. And it's $4.50.
I just finished my iced coffee.
It's like your brothers or something.
What?
Well, what do you think is this connection between food, love, and Judaism?
Yeah, I think, for us, food has always been kind of the connector, bringing people from walks of life. When our dad helped build out, the family restaurant business, everyone came to this. It was a restaurant that was built for anyone. The tablecloths were just those typical plastic checkered tablecloths originally, and it was made to bring people to enjoy just good, simple fish dishes. And, it ended up bringing celebrities, athletes, and everyone from walks of life. Even Whitey Bulger's people would come and eat there. So yeah, even mobsters.
And the big one, Julia Childs, would come in.
Julia Childs made it famous. So our grandmother had the idea it was originally a fish market. And our grandmother was like, let's put out some tables and chairs and let's cook some of it for people. And literally one of the first customers was Julia Child's assistant. She raved about it to Julia, and it was the only fish she ever bought for her show.
And our parents have Julia Childs gifted them when they would go to her house sometimes for dinner. and
Yeah.
she gifted them this like beautiful knife. So we still have that in our family from Julia.
Yeah, I'm
Why
getting a
didn't
little
you lead
emotional.
with that?
Right?
That's
We
awesome.
gotta
I,
have
I,
a
I feel
team.
like this show should be like 2 degrees of Julia, right?
2 degrees,
Right?
yes.
Yes. That's the next podcast. We'll all
I
host
love
it.
it. I love it.
Amazing.
But our family, we always talk about the next meal, even when we're eating a meal. We're like, oh, what are we gonna have for lunch? What are we gonna have
Yeah.
for dinner? It's always on our
exhausting.
mind.
We love not just to eat the food, but to talk about the food and what meals next. I feel like, do other cultures do that, or do you think it's just a Jewish thing?
I think it's a Jewish thing because no, Ben, our dad has like 6 meals a day. It's insane.
That's true.
He has a breakfast before his breakfast, and then he has a snack after breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, and always dessert.
Always.
So it's just constant food. We're always talking about it. You're right. I think it's a Jewish thing.
And apparently, you were destined to put food into this book because, again, Jewish. But is that where the love came from? Just because it was always there? The love of food.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's built into our DNA, like it's built into your DNA, food. So, should we have become fishmongers instead of writers and filmmakers? Maybe. But no, I think it's always on our mind. My wife makes fun of me because I'm always pushing food on our little boys. Constantly like, did you eat your snack? Did you eat your eggs? Did you eat your breakfast?
But you're the
I'll
one in
make
the family who's the least.
That's true.
You don't talk about food as much as us.
I can miss one meal.
Yeah, he has like 2 meals
know.
a day. It's unbelievable. I can never skip a meal. I'll get a headache, Deborah. It's not good.
I have heard apparently that there are people who forget to eat meals, and I just do not understand these people.
No.
It's like, how do you forget? And if you do forget, then you need to train yourself to not forget because food, right?
No, we don't go to like the top restaurants usually. We're very loyal to our restaurants. So we have like the same ones like that Jewish deli, Zoftics. Growing up, we had this place called Figs that we go to every
was
week.
Great. Yeah. The bagel was also another staple. We mostly liked breakfast delis, I guess. Yeah, and we would eat there morning or night. But
we make the best breads for people. That's our famous thing in our family. You wake up, you have the salmon, you have whitefish salad laid out. Yeah, like it's beautiful. I'll send you a picture.
Or you could just, get some ice packs and send me the food.
There you go. We'll make it, prepare it, and send it to you.
Yes.
And normally we would go into this later, but you kind of teased the recipe that we're going to share in the article. So what is this recipe that you love, and why is it meaningful to you?
Well, growing up, our father would always make us the best whitefish salad. He would get the whole fish, and he wouldn't put gloves on. He'd wash his hands, and he'd rip apart.
He is a germaphobe, so he cleaned his hands very thoroughly. Yes. But his whitefish is next to none.
It really is the best I've ever had. Better than any deli.
Yeah. Any deli, any high-end restaurant. And it's just, he makes sure that it's like the freshest fish. It could be trout or sable. And usually we got it from Captain Martin's in Wellesley. Great market to get
Captain Martin's still owned by the same guy. I think he's 102 years old.
Yeah, so you got to get fish from there. That's the only place. So that's the first recipe. The first part.
Wait. But what about your family's fish? It was a restaurant, not a fish market? Now
it was no, sorry. So it originally was a fish market.
Okay.
Then they decided, our dad, his older brother, and our grandfather decided to transition it into a restaurant. So our dad opened up the first restaurant in Chestnut Hill. I think in the first year, it was like 1970, 73 or 72. It generated 14 million,
Yeah,
14 million in revenue.
Yep.
It was because it was like Boston's known now for seafood, but then there weren't that many people doing it and doing it well. And so, yeah, but that restaurant, he also had a market inside it. That was also different from other restaurants at the time. They had this like beautiful fish market inside the restaurant.
Yeah, and because there wasn't that much competition, so many celebrities would go there. Every Celtics player.
But Captain Martin's was still, I think, the better fish market.
This is where you were confusing me. Family Fish Market, but buy your fish from Captain Martin's. Okay,
right.
So what is the next step?
We're honest. Captain was better.
So the next step in the recipe is very little mayonnaise. I mean, you need to use a mayo, but very little. Or sometimes we wouldn't even use mayo. Sometimes it would just be chopped parsley, dill, a little dill, like scallions. Yeah, he would put scallions, but again, everything is like fresh. And like he, like we said, he's a germaphobe. All of the food needs to be fresh.
And a little lemon,
a black pepper. It's not like a very like innovative recipe for whitefish salad, but I think it's just the way he chopped everything. He wouldn't make it a fine. He wouldn't chop the fish or ground it. It would be a chunkier cut, which I think was nice and kept it like fresh longer. And the lemon. Oh.
And something we would do that's probably not people are going to make fun of us for is we shell out our bagels.
Yeah, we do. We commit the cardinal sin.
Yeah, the cardinal sin, the carb sin.
Yeah, the carb sin.
And what do you do with the innards? You would still eat the innards, though, right? No?
Crickets. My wife eats the shelled out part now.
You could just put so much more in there, like your chive cream cheese. Then you can put your salmon, then your capers, and then your whitefish salad on top, and just create this beautiful bagel. So there's just so much more you can add when you shell it out.
It's kind of like Julie Louis-Dreyfus on Seinfeld when she was obsessed with the muffin tops.
That's us.
That's us.
I will say, you are the first people to at least admit just shelling out the bagels on Taste Buds with Deb. Seriously though, what do you do with the innards? You give them to your wife, Ben?
I give them to my wife as a snack. My boys have it as a snack. I mean, sometimes I'll eat it. But
Max, do you mail your innards?
Yes, I do.
To Ben's family?
I mail it to him. Yeah, no waste.
Well, Max is one of the most fit person in our family. So he keeps a certain shape about him.
Thank you.
And you do only 3 meals as opposed to your father's 6? Is that it?
I do 3, and then probably 4 nights a week I have a dessert too, either a cookie or ice cream. My go-to cookie was Levain Bakery, and
not a Hamantaschen.
Not a Hamantaschen. I know. Maybe I'll switch to that. But yeah, Ben used to work at Levain. That was his first job, Levain Bakery. So I would get my cookies from there. But yeah, 3 meals a day plus dessert 4 times a week. And
any eating habits that you wish to share, Ben?
Any eating habits? I'm revealing, this is probably TMI, and I've never talked about this publicly, but if you notice in person, my hands and feet are a shade of orange. and it's because I consume I don't want to say
A lot of
a
carrots.
a disgusting amount of carrots daily.
And he used to have like a tub of hummus every day.
Yeah, I would go through a tub, and I make my hummus sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I am very pro carrot. It is my
Mhm.
favorite vegetable as well.
I love
So I'm okay with that.
Amazing. Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, what's wrong with carrots? They're good for your eyes. I have better eyesight than Max.
Yeah, I just had LASIK, so
That's true.
The reason I love carrots is like they're snackable, but they can
Yes.
also be put into recipes. And also, chicken soup.
Egg chicken
I
soup is a
love
family
carrots.
staple. Our mother makes a beautiful chicken soup.
No, I wanted to have my parents start a soup company because their soups are unbelievable. Like their chicken
Unbelievable.
soup, their cauliflower soup,
Mhm.
good. What's the other one? Is it spinach soup? No,
I think
or
it's a spinach. Yeah.
asparagus soup, right?
No,
No,
it's a broccoli.
broccoli soup.
Broccoli.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all so healthy, but they taste so good.
Have you ever tried carrot soup?
I have.
Yeah,
I love carrot
It's
soup.
really good, right?
All right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna try.
Okay, this is the
Yeah.
secret that I learned recently. Put a little
Mhm.
bit of peanut butter and a little bit of ginger.
Oh,
Ooh.
And it just makes it, well, peanut butter makes everything better,
yeah.
but
Yes.
but I couldn't find a recipe I liked, so I decided I was just gonna merge like 3 different, and the one that really got me was the one with the peanut butter and the ginger, and I'm like,
Mm.
how bad could it be? The opposite of bad, amazing.
That's
That's
try.
amazing. I have been banned from trying new recipes in my house because I was on a kick trying these Instagram recipes, and the last one I did was that egg cloud recipe, and
Oh God.
I
What
tasted it.
is that one? It sounds a little
S-
scary.
So you take the egg white and you whip it into almost a meringue, and you put it on your baking pan, and then you take the yolk and you drop it on the center. You like make a little divot in it, and you drop the yolk, and then you bake it for, I want to say it was like 15 minutes. And not only did it make the whole house smell like egg, but the texture tasted like you were eating egg flavored styrofoam. And it
I
was
used
not
to,
appreciated.
yeah, I used to microwave my egg whites in my dorm room, and people would get very mad at me because it would smell the entire dorm up. Have you
We're
ever?
clearly foodies.
Yeah.
I do not I will use my oven for toast, but everything else I'll use my air fryer.
Love
Smart.
it. Yeah.
So the eggs
Yes.
in the air fryer are great, but I've discovered what's even easier is I'll like put a tortilla on top and then the rack thing,
Mhm.
and that way egg does not explode all over your air fryer.
Brilliant.
The other I think social media recipe I love. Have you done the burgers on the tortilla?
The burgers on the tortilla. Yes. Yes, I
Yeah.
have.
So you take the
Yes.
hamburger meat and you put it on a tortilla, and then you put it on an actual stove and then flip it.
Right.
And then you could put in the goodies and you've got a burger taco.
You're
Yeah.
making me hungry.
Is there anything else either of you would like to share about your joy of food and why other people should find it joyful as well?
The joy of food. I mean, with our, again, just like going back to, our family history with food. I think at the end of the day, running a family business is hard. Max and I, we run our company, NAB, and it's a family business. Our dad and his family ran their business, and it was hard. You have to navigate what's important for business, what's important for family. But at the end of the day, what kind of solved most any argument was a great meal. And it kind of just, if anything, it just stopped people from talking because their mouths were too full of food.
So true.
But yeah, I think, you know, it's a great way to stop an argument and just have everyone take a breath and sit down. And I think that's like why, you know, Shabbat is so important. You know, we're supposed to turn off, eat a good meal, and, you know, reconnect and reevaluate like what we enjoyed about the week. And so that's why food brings us joy.
Ben, that was a perfect answer. I can't beat that, Deborah. That was good.
It's been so much fun chatting about food and learning more about your business and your awesome graphic novel. Where could people learn more about the two of you and the writer?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. You can, for the writer, you can pre-order the trade paperback on Amazon or Barnes and Noble and get it anywhere you buy books come April 22nd. Or you can follow us on social media on Instagram, The Writer Comic, Berk Sketches, Maximus Berkowitz, or
Yeah.
Berkowitz Bros. We have a lot of handles.
And our company website is nabvid.com.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Ben and Max, for joining me today. This has been, well, it's always fun to geek out about food. And I love how you're amplifying all the things that make Jewishness joyful. There's something about when you do what you love and it brings joy to other people, it brings joy to you as well.
Exactly. We very much, like all of us, Josh, Ariel, Frank, our letterer, we very much created this story for us. We wrote for us. We didn't write for anyone else. And it's infused with our family, with you know, our love of Judaism, our love of just storytelling in general. And yeah, and it seems, you know, to have reached people on a cellular level, because, you know, it's now won a few awards, which you know, has been lovely, but that's not why we did it.
I mean, investors say invest in what you love. We write about what we love.
Yes.
And when you do what you love, whether it's writing or cooking or eating, it brings joy to everybody.
This has been the best conversation all week. Thank you so much, Deborah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for saying that. And again, thank you both for your time. And thank you for tuning in to Taste Buds with Deb. Don't miss an episode. You can subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, and or your favorite podcast platform. And if you go to jewishjournal.com/podcast, you can read an article and get that wonderful whitefish recipe. And you can learn more at tastebudswithdeb.com. Until next time, bon appetit.